Hey guys, Wiley here, live on my computer desk, here with my good buddy,
PieGuyRulz.
Awesome, and we're doing a cool thing where we talk about various stuff, and today's topic... Wait a minute.
I hear you banging your fist on the desk. Are you angry about something?
No, I'm not angry, I'm just passionate.
Alright, that's good. That's what this whole thing's about. It's about passion.
Passion. You have to pound your table when you do it. Passion.
It's not about passion. It's about discussing, plot points and storytelling methods and all sorts of stuff in, like, cartoons and movies and comic books.
I see. That sounds interesting. I wish I was a part of it. Anyway.
You are.
Oh, what? Sweet!
Okay. So tell the good folks at home what we're going to be talking about today.
Dear Princess Celestia, today I learned...
What I learned in Bowden School is?
And basically that's the little discussion point.
The discussion point. Okay, so we're talking about, what is it? Morals in cartoons. Specifically cartoons, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
It could be anything, but, this happens more often than not in cartoons than, than other media.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, to start off, Pie Guy, what is your opinion on morals in cartoons?
Honestly, I'm not a big fan. Because, okay, most of the time, when a cartoon show that's primarily, for laughs, tries to go for a moral, it usually botches it up. Just to be honest, there's a lot of times when they get it wrong, or there's like a second, facet to the moral that they didn't think about, and they're actually teaching kids something bad. But also, I find that when the moral is obvious, I'm not against morals completely in cartoons and stuff aimed at children or whatever. I just feel like it should be subtle. It should be up to, viewer interpretation rather than, Dear Princess Celestia, I learned X, Y, and Z about friendship today. That's Twilight Sparkle's voice.
Obviously.
What about you, Wiley? What do you think of this?
I kind of sort of agree with what you're saying. It can work, but sometimes, a lot of times it doesn't. But I think some of the morals, I understand that some kids might actually need to hear it. I don't know about you, but whenever I was younger, I actually followed the stuff they taught me in the cartoons that I saw.
Yeah, but we're not talking about, like, Blue's Clues here, are we?
No, okay. Even other cartoons, like, I actually can't think of any right now off the top of my head, but, don't judge.
Well, actually, one cartoon that did, one that really stands out from the olden times, Rugrats seemed to have a lot of those, because it was, it was a show that about the littlest kind of kid you could get, and aimed at, a younger crowd.
A much younger crowd.
Yeah, so but I guess that was justified because it was the stuff that the babies were technically learning.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't really, like, lifelong lessons that you're always going to need to know, though. Like,
True.
That's basically kind of where I was hoping to keep it in the spectrum of.
But is it the responsibility of the shows that entertain us to also teach us at a young age?
Not always, but it can be beneficial. Is what I mean.
That's true. But I think that some shows, or some specific episodes of shows, sacrifice telling a good story, or making a cohesive episode, or just taking us out of the episode by blatantly stating a moral or blatantly inserting a moral where in a story that doesn't necessarily need one. Like, not all stories need morals.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, not all shows are meant to have morals in them. That's why some don't. In fact, I think a majority of cartoons today do not have legitimate morals to them.
Yeah, well, like,
other than My Little Pony, of course.
Well, what I think, actually, thinking about it, one of the things that I really like about Adventure Time is that it ruthlessly parodies those morals. Like, what was it? The episode where they give Lady Rainicorn the translator, at the end, they were like, let's not be stupid ever again. And then Jake was like, no, let's be stupid all the time. Okay. Like, that's not really a moral, I guess, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I've seen some of those episodes where they parody the moral. Anyway, I'm sorry, but the only comparison that keeps coming to my mind is My Little Pony, and
All right,
that's the only one that I can think of that does morals right now. I'm
I'll
sure
help-
there are tons more.
Okay,
But
I'll help you out. This isn't. I guess this isn't current, but this is another good example. Animaniacs, right?
mhm.
Which I've seen on and off again. I wasn't, that was just a little bit before my time. I saw it in reruns and everything.
Right.
But they had segments where, I mean, it's not even just morals. It's just kind of trying to go out of their way to teach something to a kid. I think that's kind of where this discussion is.
I don't like I said, there's not, I don't see any particular reason to go out of their way to force a moral into the story, but like if they let it just come naturally, like in My Little Pony, like the episode is centered around that, and then it like kind of shows you what could happen if you don't follow this. I mean, obviously it's a little exaggerated with the magic and whatnot, but
Of course.
overall, like it's kind of they just kind of touch on it at the very end, and it still makes for a compelling episode for what it's trying to be. I personally think it works. I'm not saying that as a brony. I'm saying that as just someone who watches cartoons and observes them and has observed them for about 18 years now.
Well, I see, and like with Animaniacs, like it's a little bit different breed because it's not, obviously like the shorts with the Warner Brothers doing crazy things to people aren't necessarily moral driven, but they'd have the segments where they would talk about, wheel of morality, turn, tell us the lesson that we should learn, and sometimes they play it straight, and sometimes they do a joke about it,
Right.
And that was not a whole part of the show, but I guess because My Little Pony, that is the show. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shows that I think we can both agree try to shoehorn in a moral. Have an episode that's specifically trying to teach you a moral, over telling a story, and that's not the point of the show, or the characters act out of balance or whatever. There's a lot of shows that try episodes like that, and that is where it's just unacceptable.
Yeah, if they have to go out of their way to do something like that, no. You have to let it come naturally. Like, artistically, if you try to force something, it generally doesn't work.
Very true. That's why, like, the My Little Pony example. Okay, what bugs me is just the blatant telling at the end of the episode. I know you like it, and I know a lot of people do like it, but it feels very much like, I am talking to audience, and, let's take out of the story. This is where I was going. I would rather have it, like I said at the beginning, I would rather have it where, take a movie like Finding Nemo or something, where there's, there's lessons to be learned from it, definitely, and you could pick up on it, but you're going to pick up on it either subconsciously or you're going to interpret it your own way. The characters aren't telling you, like, eat your vegetables, kids. I mean, I guess that doesn't happen in Finding Nemo, but the example, they instead they, eat a bunch of junk food in an episode and get really fat and then decide to eat healthy food, and they're like, wow, this is great, like healthy food. And then the kids...
Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, that was actually a pretty funny episode.
It was.
I like that one. But you know what I'm saying? Like, don't insult the kids' intelligence. Assume that they kind of know at least a little bit where you're coming from and can pick up on the morals subtly.
That's what I like about, there's this one episode, I'm bringing up My Little Pony again. It's like one of the few cartoons I watch that I can draw, okay? That I can remember, at least. But my personal favorite episode of My Little Pony, it's called Hurricane Fluttershy. It does so many little things so right. Okay? Like, in that episode, you kind of see, like, near the end, where they're about to do the gigantic water spout or thing to get the water up to Cloudsdale. Rainbow Dash says, okay, forget the record, because not all the ponies showed up. And for some reason, I thought that was really cool, because it didn't say, like, really, it didn't say much. It just said, okay, forget the record, we just have to do this. And sometimes you have to sacrifice what you want to do for what you have to do. I mean, There's a bunch of examples in that episode that I can think of, but I can't think of them right now.
I mean, I don't doubt that the lessons in My Little Pony are, they're definitely stuff that, kids and even adults could use, heard again and remember or, learn it for a first time or whatever. But I'm trying to think if it's really just that ending that bugs me and that it takes me out of the story of it, or if it's I think that might just be it, because I can see it. In the episodes you can clearly see morals. You see them there. The characters don't necessarily blatantly state them until the very end. So I think that might just be more of my pet peeve with it takes me out of the story. It feels like those bits on old science cartoons or whatever, where what's that one? Magic School Bus. Where the guy comes out at the end and he's like, "Hey kids, what did you learn today? Real astronauts do this, this, this." It just kind of is like, great, but this is not part of the episode. Like, what is this? What are you showing me?
I think in My Little Pony it's more to kind of wrap up the whole episode. I think it's just kind of a nice, in conclusion sort of thing. I don't think it's to necessarily just beat that into your skull. It could be that, but I see it as a nice just end conclusion, end of episode. But recently they haven't been doing that. But that's a whole nother topic of discussion.
No, this is actually a little bit of a good point here, in that they did stop doing it. Do you think? Okay, I'm just thinking here. I don't know, because I do believe My Little Pony has that E rating, like the EI, educational, the mandatory educational, programming that networks seem to have or whatever. Do you think that that at the end has to be there to get that? You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
I mean, I could see the people at the FCC being that thick-headed that unless a character pretty much blatantly tells the audience what the lesson is or here's what you learned today, that it's not technically educational or whatever. Do you think that's the case?
I'm gonna say no. They've had plenty of episodes where there was no moral, like I'm not sure if there was one in the Discord episode, but I know in the Royal Canterlot Wedding one, there was no specific moral at the end. It was just kind of a happy ending,
Right. I don't know. Well, they did do away with it, so I suppose I got my way. Maybe they'll come back. I don't know. I see where you're coming from, and I think in some instances it's done better than others. Because oftentimes the characters are pretty much just restating what happened.
What we just saw,
Pretty much. There are some cases where they'll add like a cute little bit, like something extra. Otherwise, to me, it's just kind of redundant, to be honest. But hey, it's not hurting anyone, so I'm not like, this is ruining the show. It takes me out of it a little bit. Maybe it just reminds me of the fact that this is a show that was intended for people way younger than me.
All right, yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right, final thoughts?
Morals can be done right. They can be done wrong. There can be too much. I don't think we ever said there could be too little. That's something noteworthy, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
right.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. I pretty much said what my final thoughts were. Like, just I would keep it subtle. If a show from its incarnation doesn't really have morals, don't try to insert one into a specific episode. Just let the stories come, and if lessons are learned, then lessons are learned. That's about it. Hope you guys like this inaugural episode of this thing we got going here.
Plot points.
Yeah. Check back in maybe like a week or so, or maybe half a week, whatever. We'll be back with this.
Yep.
And, be sure to subscribe to Wiley 1080.
And be sure to subscribe to PieGuyRulz.
And like, comment, favorite, all of that good stuff.
Bye. Wiley 1080 signing out.
PieGuyRulz out.